this work, building up the tools to allow finding the resources on rare disease registries and biobanks and biological samples have been, as Dorota said, many years of effort from multiple teams. So this is my first slide to acknowledge all the people who've been involved in, so for building up the registries and biobank finder. So the people particularly involved are Heimo and Robert from Graz, and then the registries team, ISS in Rome. So Domenica is the PI there. From us, so I'm from Fondazione Teleton in Milan. I'm based here in Italy, and we've been involved in the biobanking work package, and so directing development of the sample catalog, which are developed. The developers, the IT developers, are a team of Morris and David involved in there in Groningen, in the Netherlands. Obviously, contributions from the biobanks themselves, or from the Your Biobank people, and they're really shaping up how they want to make their data and their samples available, discoverable to people, and contributions on how and testing our platform and really helping in shaping what you will see in a moment. And of course, a lot of thanks to the coordination office to really managing many multi-partner projects. So thank you for that. So as we have now 3 major flagship tools developed for RD-Connect. And last week was the webinar on the genome phenome analysis platform. And today I will show you the sample catalog and the registry biobank finder. So these are the last numbers from August. We have now listed almost 23,000 biosamples in the catalog, and nearly 400 registries and biobanks focusing on rare diseases. And these are really excellent numbers, and we are looking to grow. These numbers should increase in the next few months. And this is really kept dynamic, and as more samples and data are being posted, shared by biobanks and registries. So just some definitions. So what is a registry? And this was a definition that was the most comprehensive one, preferred, provided by my colleagues in Rome. So they are presenting that registry is an organized system. So it's not just a file, not just an Excel file. So it's really an organized system to collect uniform data, so clinical data and other data, to evaluate specific outcomes of a population. Here, obviously, many are looking at rare diseases. And it's defined with a predetermined purpose, usually. So that's quite important for setting up registries. So they have a predetermined purpose for their research questions. And what is a biobank? So this is my favorite simple definition of a biobank. So a biobank is a biorepository that accepts, processes, stores, and distributes biospecimens, so biological samples, and the associated data for use in research and also clinical care. So they accept and they distribute biological samples. And here, so this is the URL for the sample catalog. It is samples.rd-connect.eu. And this is a catalog, really, so something I'm particularly proud of. And so this is a catalog really listing single biological samples in the biobanks. And so because, as you know, rare disease patients are rare and scattered. And so this also implies that their samples are scattered in different places, different countries, and there are few. And for researchers to locate these biological samples is quite burdensome, and it takes quite a long time to find them, to locate them, to locate enough so that you can run significant research and experiments on the samples. So instead of having them going to different biobanks, trying to browse them, we've pooled catalog collections, sample collections from participating biobanks. So researcher would have only one place to go, so this URL, to look at many samples all at once and to browse and looking at different materials, and so to find them just in one-stop site. And so that was the ambition. So in this webinar, I wanted to show you 2 use cases on how to find samples. So this is my first case. So for instance, if you say I want to find 2 myoblasts from females from Duchenne muscular dystrophy, I thought Duchenne would be a great example. It was the Awareness Day just over 10 days ago. So Duchenne DMD is a genetic disorder characterized by muscle degradation and weakness. And so patients have problem walking and breathing. So it is an X-linked recessive disorder. So, and I thought it would be interesting to see if we can find females, because X-linked means usually that mostly affecting male patients. And so, but I read that some females have DMD. And so I just thought it was an interesting case to try to see. Maybe it's interesting to study females of Duchenne muscular dystrophy and to try to find myoblasts. So these are muscle cells. Before I do a live demo, just to familiarize the interface of the catalog. So this is when you go there, this is what you would see. So there's a search area. There's 2 tabs. One is showing the single layer. Each lane is representing 1 sample. So this is what I was mentioning before. So you can really see that so this belongs to a ring 14. It's a DNA. For a female patient, it's been diagnosed molecularly and then cytogenetically, etc., etc. So each line represents information over 1 single sample. And then there's another tab which shows aggregated data. Many columns, you can actually scroll along. So on information, the sex, diagnosis, genotype, it keeps going. And actually here is all the list of columns that you can show. So the biobank, the registry, ID, etc., etc. So what you would do is you would search, starting usually from this bar, and you can search. So in my case, it will be Duchenne muscular dystrophy. You can type that, or you can type DMD, or you can type the ORFA number, the ORFA code of DMD. So typing the number there. Unfortunately, Omen code is not supported at the moment, and so we only have the ORFA codes in there. And sometimes some data may be case sensitive. So if you don't find something, it might be just because it's the case sensitivity. So I will now try to show it live. So I will stop sharing this and go to the URL. Okay, so this is the catalog, so the samples website, and this is the landing screen. So you go to the sample catalog, and you can see what I was showing you before. So it shows the aggregates. You can go to the single layer of data. And you can see here is the number of samples we actually have currently listed in the catalog. So it's nearly 23,000. And you can browse, you can go next, but many. You can try to show more rows per page. Some more features just to try to make your search more easily, also depending how big your screen might be, so you can find anything. So here I will search for my case. Let's just do DMD. Okay, so now you can see all the Duchenne muscular dystrophy ones are being filtered, actually. You can see that now here, 965 items. So we have 965 samples of Duchenne in here. And you can see here some are myoblasts, we have fibroblasts, plasma, serum, etc., etc. We have male and female. And so what you can do is to refine your search. So I wanted to have myoblasts from females And the ways to do the search is, well, there are two ways. One is using this wizard. And so here are all the filters you can use to limit your search. So you can have, you can tick female, you can type here myoblast. And so I can do that, I can keep that. Filters that you can use, and I do apply. So now you can tell that all the myoblasts are being filtered out in 194. The other way is to use the data items here on the side. If you click and unclick, that you can tell that the column will show up or disappear. Maybe it's easiest if I do it here. So if I click on a disease, you would actually stop showing the disease column on the first column. So it's just sometimes easier to use when you have starting to have too many columns and you're scrolling, you don't know where you are. That's sometimes useful. So we were interested in the female one. So let's click female. And here we are. So I found 5. And so I wanted to have 2, and actually I've identified 5. So this is great. And so I know there are myoblasts of Duchenne muscular dystrophies in biobanks of female origin. And so I want to know where they are. So if you scroll along, you can see that the hosting biobank, so the samples are held by the MRC Center for Neuromuscular Disease Biobank in London. So that's where they are. So at the moment, if you want to look for, request these samples, at this moment, you would need to write to the biobanks. And if you click on that link, here you would see the information about the biobank and actually link to the ID card. It's information in the Finder. So I can click that. And it came out here. So here it is. So the London MRC Biobank, and here's a contact person. So you can write to him specifying that you wanted to have the female myoblasts from Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So coming back to here. And actually sometimes, so not all samples have some link to also registry. So this one actually, we also know that the patient or this sample have some link to this registry. And if you click to that, so I think it's also in London. So you can click if it has some link or collaboration to a registry. So this patient has some samples in this biobank and then registry and clinical information in a registry, then they would actually have link. So here it is. So Mike Hanna is a person to write to if you're also interested in knowing more about the patient or finding more information and clinical information. And so that's great. So you, in one instant, you have found the hosting biobank for the biological samples and some more data and also patient at this registry. What is interesting also, there's something I wanted to show, this feature. So sample donor ID, and I keep scrolling. So now the column appeared. As I said, so each sample, each column, each line represents one single sample. And so these donors, these patients actually are, so they come from a single person. And if you want to see if this patient perhaps has other biological samples that you might be useful for your research. So I'm making a copy and doing a search here. And I will remove the myoblast filter. I think they already came up. So now I have 2 lines because it updated itself already. I actually found for the same person, same patient 767, had provided 2 sample types. So they had provided myoblasts, so muscle cells, and also fibroblasts. So they could be different usage for experiments. So yeah, that's something nice feature to see. So you might be able to find different samples that are needed for different research purposes from the same person. I know, for instance, just now trying different searches, I know of a patient 060. So this is something I was playing about before. Also Duchenne muscular dystrophy from a female patient. And so the IDs are the same. And this person is in Newcastle, has the samples in the Newcastle Biobank. And you can find plasma, serum, DNA, for instance, all from this patient. So there are many possibilities, and it takes some time. It's almost intuitive, but it takes some digging to find information. And these are sometimes you can find really treasures in here. I want to go back to look at the aggregates feature. So again, my DMD. So we've been looking at the single level, sample level data, and now we'll try looking at the aggregate level. And here you can actually combine different features. So you can have disease, material type. So you can see here in our catalog for the 965 samples that we have listed. For Duchenne, we have actually urine, we have leukocytes, we had the myoblasts that we looked at before. There are also serum, DNA, etc., etc. So it's just a quick way to see what kind of samples they are. Or you can look at the biobanks. So there are some samples are held in London, the MRC London. Some are in Spain. So this is a biobank in Spain. Also, it's got some samples and another big collection at the Newcastle MRC Biobank. So this way, in the aggregate level, you can actually find many combinations that are useful to find other types of information. And that actually would lead to my other demo question, which is okay, so I say I want to know which biobanks hold samples from patients with congenital muscular dystrophy type 1A. So let's try that. The acronym, so you could type everything out, but I prefer just to use the acronym. This is for muscular dystrophy type 1A. And here you can see, so 2 biobanks hold samples for this disease. Some are in Spain, some are at Newcastle. And you can go back and forth. So here are the 8 samples that were here in total, 8. And finding looking at what you might need information. So here are again, the link to the biobank, a link to the biobank in Spain. And some samples have already molecular diagnosis, some are maybe clinically diagnosed. So you need to look at what you might need in your sample requirement for your research. And so with that, I'm going to jump to the Finder. So here is the home screen of the Finder. It's catalogue.rd-connect.eu. And so you would click Browse to enter, and that would bring you to the home page of the catalog. So I was showing you before, so each registry and biobank has its own profile page showing different information about its registry or biobank. Sorry, now it's loaded. When you open Browse, and this is what you come to. So also here in the Finder, you have the search bar, and you can search by disease name, gene, alpha code, and ICD-10 oming, etc., etc. And then here you can filter for biobank or registry, and filter. And so here are all of them listed, and it keeps going down. You can rank them going from numbers, from highest to lowest, or country alphabetically. And some filtering can be done here. Or you can search. So these are some of my recent searches. So I wanted to look at spectroscapulohumeral dystrophy as an example of search, and I filter. So it's located for me, the registries and biobanks with patient or samples related to the facial scapulohumeral dystrophy. Yeah, so some biobanks and some registries. Here, I want to just go into a registry. Let's do the UK. So as usual, here you can find a contact person or who to write to if you want to get in contact, trying to get some data access or collaboration or trials, finding patients for trials. Yeah, here they can see that also indicated that they have, in this registry, they have their biological samples stored at the also Newcastle Biobank for neuromuscular diseases. You can see which diseases that they have stored information for. So this registry is specific for the FSHD disease. And this is also a nice section on documents, so you can see what kind of information they might have, maybe recording. So this registry has published its data set. What kind of data they collect in their registry, so some core data set as such. So that helps already before contacting them, you know what kind of information you might need, if it's already been covered, or you see particular data you might be interested in. So there are some related documents that you can find to a biobank. So you can go back. Of course, there's also some website you can link straight and read more about them. Let's see if I can go back. Okay, so this was, oh, there's another one. This has 3 diseases, so I guess the MD and FSHD. Yeah, so 2 types. How many patients they have in their registries, and then there's some documents or publications. So this one is actually in the States. Some data documents and publications. So they are fairly straightforward, these finders. So you just look in the search bar and type in what disease you might be interested in, or even by name of people you might already know that are holding on curating a registry or biobank. You can search from these bars too, and you can find information and their contact details and sort of diseases and supporting information that they might have. So now I'm going to go back to my slide. So this I showed you, so to find biobanks using the aggregates view, you can find information on the catalog, on the biobanks. And so I wanted to show you, just to show you who are the biobanks that are holding these samples for research. So all the biobanks are providing their sample collections to the catalog, come from the EURO-Biobank network. So it's the RD-Connect Biobank network, and currently there are 25 rare disease partners, rare disease biobank partners, and they're located in several countries. And actually, EURO-Biobank has a long history, funding and support from the European Commission, starting from IP5, and actually was a partner also in the Treat NMD project. And this is also why we actually have much bigger collection of biological samples from neuromuscular diseases patients. And so more recently, we've also been partnering and providing advice and shaping the catalog and finder in the RD-Connect. So they are the biobank network operating for a long time. So it is possible to join the Your Biobank network. We're always welcoming biobanks to join and share their sample collections to the catalog so that they're easily findable for the researchers. And so what would happen is you need to express your interest. You can fill a form, which is you can find in the finder. And basically because we want to ensure that all the samples we have listed are of good quality and come from good quality biobanks. So we've imposed a very simple evaluation process, a sort of mini peer review on the biobanks which want to join. So we asked them to fill a questionnaire just to tell us a little bit more about their collections, how do they operate, persons who informed consent, and as such, and the biobank and their willingness to share data set. And this is evaluated by the panel of biobank assessment, and then they will receive the feedback on recommendation. So we just wanted to have a check that they meet some minimum criteria on quality measures. So if you want to see more information about the process to join biobank, this is available on the RD-Connect website. So the registry and biobank finder, I've already shown you the demo, how to search. So this is again the URL, the catalog .rd-connect.eu, and has listing registries and biobanks, peer-reviewed biobanks. And it has basic information about the resources, the databases, who to contact, and the collections, diseases that they're focusing on, and some supporting documents. And just some resources of where you can find more information and how to navigate. We have some support materials. So the finder has been published. This is the DOI link of the article. There are also 2 videos on how to use the biobank, the finder, how to register yourself, or how to browse, as I just shown you, from the RD-Connect YouTube channel. And so this is a summary. Last slide, I've just shown you the 2 tools that we have developed within RD-Connect for registry and biobanks and biological samples, where you can find information. So some minor differences between tools. So the first one, the finder, is on really the registries and biobanks themselves. So that's where you look for. You can look by disease name or mean NOFA codes, and you can just filter for registry or you should say biobank as you need. And actually, so as there has a back end for us, just to manage if a registry or a biobank wish to join, and we can manage that application process, so registration process. And then the other tool is the sample catalog, is really looking at the biological samples, where you can search and browse using different filters and disease name, etc. And as I just shown you, so now you can only browse and look at them. But of course, all you really want to do is actually request and have them in your laboratory for experiments. And so the request now is still done via email, and I've shown you that the email you can find linked from the sample to the finder. You can find the email of the biobank managers. We're collaborating with BBMI ERIC to use the BBMI ERIC negotiator. So it's a tool to request samples. So it would designing it a little bit like a shopping cart, if you've done online shopping. So each line, so each sample line, you can sort of click and add to basket, and at the end of that you have all the samples that you need, and that request is generated automatically, so you don't have to write separate emails, etc. So this is under development, and it's in testing, so it should be ready by this year. And so really we're continuously still building on these tools to make them even more user-friendly, and also to share this news with you, because in the newly awarded the new European Joint Program for Rare Diseases, so this for the next 5 years is the major European fund for rare disease building and infrastructure. These tools are part of that program, and they will be continuing developed, and new data will come in and be more further enriched. And so, yeah, hopefully they become the tools that you go to find your registry and biobanks and samples. Dorota, that's end of my presentation.
Perfect.
If
so
anyone's got questions.
Thank you a lot. It was really excellent. So now it's time for questions. You can type them in using the chat box at the bottom. You should be able to see that. So please, if you have any questions, type them down. I actually have a question for you, Mari.
Sure.
So I was very interested by the functionality of searching the sample catalog using the donor ID. That was something I was not aware of before. So the ID you have there, is that an internal biobank ID?
It is not their internal, it is provided by the biobank themselves, but it is not their internal ID, because obviously patient ID, donor ID is something sensitive, it's a sensitive data. So it's something that it's like encrypted, but it is something specific to that biobank indeed.
So is there any risk that that, let's say, 2 different biobanks might provide an ID of a donor that is identical, and you think that, let's say, 5 different samples belong to one person, but it's actually 2 different people?
I think not, because this will be something that will be highlighted during the uploading of the data from the biobanks. So there is a data quality check when they upload the data. It may be, I think at the moment, no, but it could be as a possibility, a scenario where 2 biobanks may have the same number, like usually. So I don't know, if you say starting from 1, so you may both have patient 1. But then that code is actually linked to your biobank code, because each biobank has a biobank ID as well, and so that just to avoid confusion.
Okay, we have one question in the chat box. I'm a member of the PAT-AVI board of BBMRI in the Netherlands and know Maurice Sweats. Should or could I motivate BBMRI Dutch biobanks to join, or were they already invited to do so?
So I have been, this is great news. So Dutch biobanks they should join, especially if they have something of rare disease focus, rare disease interest. They have been invited, probably not directly. I have met some, for instance, at the biobank conferences, or also perhaps in the RD-Connect project meetings. But they are invited, they are very welcome to join. Maurice obviously knows this platform and project very well, and yeah, they're most welcome.
Question from the Dravet Federation. How can we join the RD-Connect platform if we have a registry?
Okay. So if you wish to list your registry in the Finder, you can propose yourself. So let's see. I'm back at the URL. So at the landing page, if you want to join or for both registry or biobank, you would click here. So here is to browse who are already in the RD-Connect platform. And here you can propose yourself. So you just fill some basic information, your contact email. So yeah, head of who to contact. If you already have some indication of your disease focus, and then just propose yourself. We will receive a notification, and then we will invite you. So create a profile, a basic profile page for you, and then grant you access to your page so that you can then go in and fill in the information yourselves. That would be the process. So yeah, enter here to propose.
So that's both for registries and biobanks, right?
Yeah, yes, both. I think I have too many tabs open. Yes.
Once I've got a question from someone who was, I think, a patient representative, and they asked me if you're a patient, is it possible to use the Finder to check if your data are in any registry?
If you're a patient
Yeah.
or anybody, you can browse and look for information here as I've just shown you. But you cannot find information on yourself or individual, so that the Finder does not show personal data, sensitive data in the person level. So as for instance here, you can see that it's covering 7 diseases. Let's see, well, this one we were showing before, 3 diseases. And they have 740 patients, but it's not possible to find just, information of in this detail of that patient. So you would contact the registry owner to know. Maybe you know that you've joined, you participated in this registry, and you know you're one of the 740, but that is not confirmed. You cannot tell from the Finder itself. Obviously, sensitive data are not shared publicly as such.
Right, otherwise the system wouldn't be free to use for anyone. We would have to, like make a very strict control who can access this, and that's actually completely the opposite of what we're trying to do. We want to make it available for anyone who needs it. Yeah.
For the sample catalog, it's also just open for anyone to use to browse, so there's no login. It is showing sample level information, but also there you cannot find more data about an individual. It's a more similar way. So these are de-identified information.
Okay. Do we have any more questions? If not, then I guess we can finish this webinar. In case you have more questions that come maybe in the future, please feel free to contact us. You can write to Mary directly. You can find the email on RD-Connect website, or you can also write to me. You can also find my email there, or you can just write at info@rd-connect.eu.
Oh, sorry, I saw in one more
there's
question.
No question, yeah. How the platform collaborate with the ERNs?
Dorota, you wish to answer that one?
Well, at the moment, our collaboration is mainly like to encourage everyone in the ERNs to register the registries and also make use of the sample catalog. We also have very intensive collaboration regarding genomics data. So currently there is a Horizon 2020 project called Solve RD, which is analyzing 19,000 exomes from rare disease patients who, from different ERNs, who were not diagnosed until now. So we are very closely collaborating. They are using the RD-Connect platform to diagnose those patients and maybe also to find samples or more data about the symptoms of these patients for further research. So that's how we're currently collaborating. This series of webinars is also actually part of the collaboration we're having, and we're going to keep further developing.
Yeah, as I so adding on to Dorota's question, so as I mentioned, the new Another Horizon 2020 program, so the EJP, RD, all these tools will be continue to be developed, and also with ERNs, and we have other training modules as well to also not just on the tools themselves, so it now becomes more like a community as also the rare disease community to targeting ERNs or clinicians and researchers how to manage their biological samples, how to use biobanks or how to set up registries. So some of our colleagues organize summer schools. And so there are a series of activities that we collaborate in. We really the goal of making data more accessible and findable for rare disease research. So yeah,
yes,
continue dialogues.
In very general, we are very we collaborate with the ERNs, especially on the research side. Even though the ERNs are mainly focusing on healthcare provision, but they also have their research goals, and that's where we support them. Great. So I have just in the chat I have just written the general email address of RD-Connect in case you have any questions in the future. Please contact us. So if there are no more last questions, I think we can finish the session. And thank you very much for joining. And Mary, thank you for the excellent webinar.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.